no, they're evil. Let them get swallowed up. I'm just ready for them to get swallowed up. I don't care right now, but I really do. So to obey means to comply with or to follow the commands and instructions of authority, to trust and have confidence in that authority. There's a difference between obedience and to obey and to submit. Submit is to yield oneself to the power or authority of another. To yield oneself to the power or authority of another, to resist them no longer to oppose them in their actions. Obedience is the action, but submission is the intent. It's the drive behind the action. It's easy to obey because it's simply a matter of will. You can choose whether you want to be obedient or not. And I say this, like, Nick obeys the traffic laws. He wears his seatbelt. He's obedient, but he doesn't agree with it at all. And because his whole thing is, why should they be able to tell me what to do? The government has way too much authority. We are still supposed to be like, have freedom also. So he's like, so it's my life if I get in an accident and I go through the windshield. Of course, he puts on his seatbelt too because he loves me, and if he doesn't, I'm like, honey, your seatbelt. Put your seatbelt on. Just a little bit. So he loves me too, so he does it. But if the consequence of disobedience is bad enough, most people will obey whether they agree or not, because they don't want the consequence to happen. They don't care. It's not because they're submitted. They're just doing it because they don't want to get in trouble. And I realized this right after the spirit of fear left me and I stopped taking my Prozac and everything. God began to deal with me on the what was behind the fear, the motivator behind the fear. And I realized I'm obedient in a lot of things because I don't want to get in trouble. I obeyed God and I obeyed his word because I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to go to hell. But it's more than that. Amen. Because then that's when you really get in trouble, because then you start to view sin in degrees, I guess. Well, that one's not too bad, so I could probably still slide in under that one. Or, well, I love you, but I don't really like you, kind of thing, which you hear a lot in Christianity. And I had to tell somebody the other day, I was like, okay, well, when it says if you hate your brother, you've murdered them in your heart. And I'm like, hate is not what you think. It's not the animosity. It's not, man, I hate you, I can't stand you. It's not that aggressive kind of animosity. No, the word hate there just means if you love them less. If you love them less than you love yourself, you're guilty of murder. So there is no skating through that one. There is no different degrees of sin in that one. You can be obedient and be like, oh, I love you, brother, but don't really like you too much. Wouldn't want to be around you too much. Okay, well, that's not how you show love to yourself. You're not going to neglect yourself. So a lot of what I did was because I wanted to be obedient, because I was more afraid of the consequences if I didn't. And not only that, but I didn't want to be a disappointment to God either. But then the problem with that is you start looking at God in a bad light, and you're ready for him to come down on you all the time about everything. So it distorts your view. But submission, on the other hand, it's a heart issue. It's not a head issue like obedience is. It's not a, okay, well, I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna comply, but I don't have to agree. And I found this on the internet, and I thought that it was really, really awesome. This is what submission is. It means that we understand the heart of our leader, the mission of our leader, and embrace our role in the fulfillment of our leader.
Oh, that's on Facebook. Amen. That's a good word.
That's what submission is. It's that we understand the heart of our leader, the mission of our leader, and embrace our role in the fulfillment of his mission.